Welcome everyone to our webinar. We'll start the session now. Cognavi, an AI-driven platform dedicated to revolutionizing recruitment. As a subsidiary of Forum Engineering Japan, a company with 43 years of experience in HR tech and listed on Tokyo Stock Exchange, we are committed to streamlining the hiring process and connecting students, recruiters, and universities all under one platform. Welcome to Cognavi's Expert Webinar Series, Episode 3. Human resource managers and talent acquisition leaders are increasingly turning to AI tools for tasks such as resume summarization and generating interview questions. According to statistics of human resource management, 85% of employees use automation or AI report that it helps them save time and boost their efficiency. The adoption of AI is expected to rise even further in the coming years. In today's webinar, we will explore how AI is revolutionizing the interview process. The journey of AI began at Dartmouth College in 1958, and now AI has become an integral part of our daily lives. In today's competitive job market, savvy job seekers are leveraging the latest tools for success. Hiring managers now expect AI to be a part of interview processes and understand its impact is essential for both employers as well as candidates. In this webinar, we will delve deep into the impact of AI on the interview process. We will explore how AI is reshaping traditional hiring process and what it means for both employers and candidates. Meet our speaker for today. Ms. Palak Gupta is a management consulting analyst at Accenture. With a background in change management, strategy consulting, talent acquisition, and mentoring, she has helped clients achieve their strategic goals. She holds a gold medal for academic excellence from IIM Indore and is certified in Hogan Personality Assessment. Previously, she led change management efforts at IBM for a global workday system, implementation, and sourced candidates at Michelle Page. She is passionate about continuous learning, exploring new opportunities, and supporting others in their job journey. As a resume writer, interview specialist, and mentor, she has helped over thousands of candidates. We are very excited to have you as our esteemed speaker for today's webinar, Palak.
Thank you so much for such a warm.
All right, so let me walk you all through the agenda for today. So, in our today's agenda, we will first speak about the evolution of interviews, understand the different interview formats, understand the streamlining of hiring processes, what role does AI have in hiring, addressing the skill gap, and candidate experience in AI driven interviews. As you all know, interview scheduling statistics says, did you know that recruiters dedicate 66% of their time in hiring? Palak, what is your take on this? How is AI actually entering into hiring and interviews?
So, Veera, that's very interesting question. I would actually want to start by exploring the evolution of interview. So, basically, today, let us just set the context a little bit more. Basically, so we are here today to explore how AI, is taking place and what AI is doing when it comes to our interview process as well. So, the first point that we want to talk about is exploring how has actually interview evolved from the, maybe let's say old past ages to now. So let's begin with talking about the first interview type, which was a traditional face-to-face interview when you actually go to a interviewer's office, you give an interview, you meet the interviewer personally and things like that. So we all know the advantage that you meet a person one-on-one, you feel a personal connection, and sometimes it's very good, right? You're looking at their face, you're giving an answer, you understand, okay, this is right, this is wrong. So an immediate feedback is always there. However, it comes with its challenges itself. So it's very time consuming. It has a limited reach. So, for example, if a company is in Bangalore and you are in Delhi and you have to give a face-to-face interview in their Delhi office, then you travel from Bangalore to Delhi, and it become really chaotic. So sometimes people just want to let go of the opportunity rather than traveling. Then came our virtual interviews, thanks to COVID mainly. It was there before as well. However, we all know COVID just pumped it up a little. So advantage, it has many. For example, it's flexible, very, very cost efficient. And you can just interview global candidates as it is. We can look about the relocation later on, but at least you can interview those candidates, and you have you can access that talent as well. So, however, it does has its own set of challenges, a lot of technical glitches. Sometimes your mic doesn't unmute, you're giving an answer and you just get disconnected in the middle of it, and you get very, very tensed after it at times. I've seen it personally. Also, a lack of personal interaction. So today for this webinar also, we are all in a virtual setting. You are meeting me, I am meeting you, but can't see any, just can't pick any of you from a lineup also, because there is no personal connection. Also, can't really get an immediate feedback also on the same. So just going with the flow as it is. The next interview format that evolved was the AI driven formats, which has a lot of advantages. It's efficient, it's scalable, it's objective, and it makes the human tasks very, very easier. And it has a lot of challenges also. And one such challenge that you would want to talk about is that sometimes you feel that there is an algorithmic bias. Algorithmic bias basically means sometimes you might want to see that the if you're giving an interview in front of a recorded AI, you might feel that it is only selecting candidates which have said a certain word or things like that. So that might be a problem for you. Also, you don't feel you know it's basically machine. You don't feel the human touch which we all need in our day-to-day life. How so we've talked about some AI formatted interviews, but there are certain interview formats of AI, and let's discuss it in a little bit more detail, maybe a line or two. So first, AI facilitating remote interviews. When we talk about AI facilitating small interviews, we talk about basically, a platform where, AI tool enables seamless video conferencing, also gives candidates assessment, feedback, and then again, the basic function of a virtual interview also enhance collaborative effort across location. Then asynchronous interviews, which means that there is no person taking an interview. It's just a machine. It has a pre-recorded set of questions, and you are responding to those questions looking at the camera. So then again, it's a AI evolution, but then again, you might feel that there is not a personal connect, and you are not able to answer it very well because you're just staring at your camera and not the other person's face. So that's about what kind of evolution of interview has been.
According to Human Capital Management industry statistics, 96% of senior HR professionals believe that AI has the ability to enhance talent management and retention, based on which we did a survey on Instagram, which was, what is your preferred interview settings? This is the question we asked our audience. And the two options were the classic office interview or virtual interview from home. And as you can see the results, 58% of them have voted virtual interview from home. Now, either because it is more convenient or maybe it suited their style. But definitely there's more to it, and we know that AI is a part of it. So, what would you suggest us? What are is just talking in front of a camera or attending a virtual interview? Is that the only type of interview we have, or do we have more?
So thanks, Veera, for your, this poll is been a really eye opener for me. I'm not from the classic ages, right? I am just about anybody's mid 20s. So I am also not someone who's given a lot of office interviews, honestly. For me, also, it was virtual interviews, but I felt since, return of office has this much hype, people are just more interested in giving those interviews, maybe. But it has been an eye opener for me as well. Let's explore it a little bit more in our coming slides and talk about it a little bit more. So since you mentioned that, there are different interview formats, there's not just one interview, if the pre-recorded questions are also there in an AI format, still there are different kind of interviews that we need to keep in our mind. So there are four types of interviews: structured interviews, unstructured interviews, behavioral interviews, and competency-based interviews. When we talked about structured interviews, it's basically the interview comes with a predefined set of questions that, okay, these are the questions I need to ask, and I won't budge from my already established list. This is what it is. However, when we come to unstructured interviews, there are more a conversational interview between the interviewer and the interviewee. And it's the most popular interview style, I feel, because then it's a free flowing discussion and the interview also has the room to wiggle. And the interviewee also can, try and drive the discussion as well. Although there is also behavioral interviews where the interviewer asks you question that, okay, describe a time where you showed your leadership skill. This is a question that is usually asked in behavioral interviews. This is basically a past predicting the future behavior and actions and what you will do. Moving on to competency-based interviews, this is basically talking about, if this is a set of competency that's there, and how will I assess it? I will ask some questions around it. For example, there is suppose the skill that they want to check is maybe what kind of marketing knowledge that you got, right? So that they'll ask you, okay, tell me the end-to-end marketing process. You have to then start from market research and go through the entire process and tell them, okay, after sales service and innovation, continuous innovation is something that you would end that in. So that those are usually competency-based interviews.
We have another question for you before we move on to our further slides. This time, we again did a poll, but we did that in LinkedIn. The question was, what's the role of AI in shaping interviews today? And as you can see, we had three options. It helps speeding up the interview process, it helps match the candidates better, and it improves the candidate's experience. Now, I'll have two questions for you from the poll. The first question would be, does really AI helps recruiters match candidates better? Because that's the most voted answer. And the second thing that we can notice is we have the least vote for improving candidate experience. Does that really not gain any weightage when it comes to interviews? Please share your thoughts with us.
So basically, I would firstly want to answer the first question that you asked about, that how can AI help us better match candidates, right? So let's just go on to the next slide and I'll just let you know why and what are we doing. So since, it's a additional advantage or additional feature that is being added in all the interviews, so it must have some benefits, right? We are not adding it to make our lives a little bit more difficult. So it does help in matching the candidates a little bit better. I'll explain it in just a second. And for your candidate experience, that is something I want to take a little bit later on because I have something special prepared on that. So let's first make sure that,
Sure.
why are we actually adding, AI in all those interview processes? So when we add structured interviews, AI in structured interviews, we already feed in the predefined criteria and what are we wanting to evaluate. And when you're taking the interview along with the recruiter, AI also analyzes the answers based on, certain predefined criteria, also some keywords, also some, gestures also sometimes it does notes. So that is how it helps in structured interviews. So if all these things are happening, obviously, there is a second perspective also. So it would then help you match the candidates better, right? Moving on to unstructured interviews. Now, it can't, you can't just have predefined criteria because it's a free flowing conversation that's happening between two individuals. So here, natural language processing, a kind of a technique that's there that helps to interpret candidates' response. How it does it sometimes does, sentiment analysis, if you know. So, whatever expression you are giving. So you're giving an answer and there is a expression that the AI feels that this person might be lying. And that's one of the biggest things, biggest red flag in an interview. You should not lie. So sometimes uh, AI does also helps to catch that. Also, it also, maybe just you're talking about yourself. You've given, an entire introduction about yourself. The AI sometimes also helps you pick out that, okay, this person spoke the maximum about this. It also gives you interview transcripts to later, just go through that as well and make sure what is lacking, what is not lacking, and is this candidate a better fit for you. Then again, when it comes to behavioral interviews, if there, the recruiters then again asks you, what, tell me a time where you know, have shown creativity. But now, right now, it also has an AI partner which is analyzing our entire interviews. It will analyze whatever you said in the past to make, we as a candidates don't know whether it's a good answer or not. And recruiters can't really say that, you have given an example. But how much relevant is that example to the competency that you want to match? That is something that AI would help you do. Also, when you are wanting, AI assistant in competency based interviews, it also helps through, go through whatever examples or whatever answers you have given. It helps you analyze that as well. And also, so there is a question that is there asked you, a case based question. Also, a situational judgment is also something that AI can help us judge through its entire algorithm. Can we go to the next slide, please? Now here, I quickly want to also, since we've talked so much about, the AI features that are there and that can help the recruiters do their work. So there are also some features that Cognavi also offers. It talks about, time-saving automation. For example, the first thing that the recruiter does is sorting and screening of their resume. I've done it personally. It takes a lot of time and effort. But this feature can, really, you just put in the job description and it helps you sort through the resume that are there in the database and screen those resumes, what percentage of match it is. It helps us to do that as well. Then it also has a feature of smart video interviews. When we talk about smart video interviews, it's powered by AI to, so, there are questions sometimes we as recruiters might feel that we do not have the right questions to ask the interviewer. We might, just missed what they said or something like this. But if we have, an AI partner who can help us ask both general and technical questions, that would be a very, very big help for us. Then another feature that it has, it's talking about candidate performance. When you want to get insights, is the skill, when we're looking at communication skills, when we are looking at the leadership skills, when we are looking at the problem solving skills, we as recruiters feel like, okay, this person is talking, this person has some skills, but how much skills, what percentage of those skills are matching, and things like that. This is something that the AI partner can help us do. This brings me to my next point, which talks about easy candidate rankings, which says that, you've talked to this many people, but you don't know, we we as humans might also encounter, if you know about the biases that happen in an interview, similar to me bias, and the bias of something first said or something last said. So this, when we are ranking in candidates with the help of AI, this also help us get rid of those biases and give us a better understanding of what the candidate has done and what how will the AI at least rank those candidates, and then we can move forward with it. Which, if we have such a feature helping us, it would then again help us to take quick decisions and make the entire end-to-end process and the turnaround time very, very less.
All right, Palak. Now that you have actually spoken about it, why don't I give you a quick walkthrough of this feature?
Would love that.
All right, so let me quickly play you a short video, and as the video proceeds, I'll keep talking to explain you how this actually functions. So all the recruiters who are joining us today, please watch this video carefully because this will bring you something new. So this is Cognavi's talent GPT feature, where actually you can enter the kind of candidates that you're looking for in natural language, or you can feed in the job description. And once you do that, we have a feature called, either you can type in the job description, or we also have a feature called upload job description. Over here you can just feed the PDF file or any kind of file you have which explains the job description. Once that is done, our AI will actually go through all of it and identify what your exact requirements are, and it will filter it to its understanding in this manner. Post which, when you can click on the apply the filters and save it, it'll make the JD into its understandable level, and it'll identify that these are the skills and these are the roles and responsibilities that it should be looking for when it is matching the candidates. So as Cognavi, we have a wide set of data pool from which, when you upload a JD in this format, our Cognavi AI will identify the required skills and responsibilities, and it will match to the respective candidates who have those. And then when you click on get candidates or the top talent, it'll get you all the details of the candidates. So instead of spending hours and hours screening in various platforms to identify these right talents, or the to just to find the correct set of candidates that you want to shortlist, you can try Cognivi and post the list. This is actually the candidate summary that we provide for one single candidate that is there from the entire list of the creamy layer of top talent. So it will give you a summary of the particular candidate that you have chosen, and it will also give you an overall justification that why it thinks it has matched that particular candidate to your job requirements. Post that, the recruiter can shortlist the candidate. Not only that, they can actually ask them to give a video interview and also send them a request to take up the culture fit assessment, because it's important for recruiters to make sure that the candidate is both technically qualified and also culturally fit for the organization. Once this is done, we will be able to give you a list of answers and how the candidates have responded to your request, and accordingly the scores will also be given by the AI. How simple has it made for you? Otherwise a screening interview would almost consume one fourth of your interview time. Post which, this is the actual screen which tells you how the video interview of a particular candidate has gone through. It will basically give you an overall score, the time they have taken to address all the questions, when it was submitted, and an entire detailed summary of what was spoken. And this is our culture fit assessment, which tells you how qualified they are in each of these skills, which is basically soft skills that is needed for a person to get into an organization. And this wraps it up for now. Now, recruiters, if you are interested, please sign up for a demo and our experts will get in touch with you. Palak, let's continue. So over here, let me say that now you have, actually spoken about the types of interviews, have also made us understand what role AI is playing in an interview, be it, virtual interview or the kind of questions that they would ask you in a behavioral interview or so. These are the three C's I think is very important. You have to be credible in what you talk, competent enough in your task, and confident of how you present yourself. Is it?
I
I
think
think
these three
these three
C's are
C's
very
are very
important.
important.
Also, I feel our recruiters might also agree with me. And if somebody disagrees, we would really love to hear why you really want to. But I think it's the three C's are perfectly just named.
So, in case recruiters, you would like to book a demo with us, we will leave the booking demo link in the chat box. Please go ahead and reserve your seats. Moving on.
So now
So, now
let's
let's
talk
talk
about
about
how
how
basically the AI revolution has happened in recruitment. So when we talk about, the traditional recruitment methods, there's a lot of manual screening, which talks about sourcing resumes, screening resumes, having the first interview call with them to get their basic information. Also, there is a very limited candidate pool that we have, right? We just go to Naukri, we just go to, LinkedIn, we go to Monster.com and all these sites. But sometimes we as recruiters also feel stuck, right? That, that there is nothing that we can do and there is not a lot of candidates that we can actually source. Also, the cost of hire with the traditional method is very very high. However, with AI revolution, the automation has made, resume screening and screening, sourcing, ranking resumes, and maybe just sending them the interview invite as well. That all tasks have become really really easy. Also, it is just proving to be a very good source to help us make data driven decisions and not only rely on human instinct and overcome human biases as well, as it analyzes large number of data, identify trends, and predict candidate success and optimize the recruitment process as well. Can you move to the next slide, please? So Veera just showed us a really lovely demo of the entire thing. And very honestly, me being since I've done this in the past, I have a little experience at hand, and I know the amount of pain you have to go through to search it with the entire resume to make sure the job description is matching with the resume, and the entire ordeal is really really very painful. However, with Talent GPT, it is something that is making us it's very very easy. Now, for culture fit assessment, usually you have an interview, or sometimes we also do have a psychometric testing and some things like that. But imagine with AI, all these things can become really, really easy because you have a specific set of questions and something on the other hand needs to evaluate, and you need to do nothing. You just get a result and see if the person is culturally fit or not. However, you then again also need to see it on your own also, but having a AI partner can help a lot in this. The video in AI interviews, enables recruitment that you got a score, you got a ranking. Now you use also your inputs and make the work a very very easy, and in a very short period of time you're able to shortlist candidates and better candidates as well, so that the return for the company as well becomes a lot large. Veera, do you do you agree that was that the motive behind Cognitive to
to
introduce such
introduce such
features?
features? Absolutely true, because when we actually can see that recruiters are adopting AI so that they can make hiring more efficient, yet there are some bottlenecks that we want to specifically solve. Like rightly addressed, the first thing we want to solve is help them reduce the hiring timeline so they can focus on other things that is most important to build a strong team. And the second thing is we want them to eliminate something called skill mismatch. So we want them to actually get to the candidates who possess the skills that's required for the job. Similarly, we want the students to also, land their dream job. So we want to empower them, and that's the reason we have built our platform. And you have explained it exactly right. So, moving on, let me address this. The Association of Talent Development 2022 survey stated there are three most common skill gap among employees. And they are first, critical thinking and problem solving skills. Second, managing and supervisory skills. Third, communication and interpersonal skills. Now, although this is a 2022 survey, we feel that there are a lot more people who are actually believing and saying that this still prevails. Now that we have spoken about how AI is playing a role in interviews, how recruiters are streamlining the process, and how Cognivi helps recruiters solve their problems in certain aspects, and we have also seen how traditional recruitment is evolved into a particular recruitment platform where AI is also starting to play an important role. But skill gaps do prevail. What's your thought on these?
So basically, I think obviously skill gap is a major concern both for employees and for recruiters as well, because we have to, they're searching for jobs, you have to give them jobs. But if there is a skill gap, there is a certain limit to which companies can also train employees. And candidates need to, certainly come with certain set of skills. And I rightly agree, critical thinking, problem solving skill, managerial skill, communication and interpersonal skills are something that are very important, and I feel are missing in a lot of people that come and join the organization, in especially in the initial phases when there are freshers as well. So if we move on to the next slide, I want to address the skill gap and how can AI actually play a role in this. So what usually what you can do through various AI platforms is that it can, you just give them your resume and you help them, you ask the AI platform that, okay, fine, this is my profile, this is the something that I'm willing to just apply for. What are the skill gaps that are there? It will analyze it, it will do it will perform some predictive analysis, it will go through the entire data it has, and it will tell you what are the skill gaps. And I think this is the first step to actually improving yourself and making yourself job ready. Then it would also give some personalized recommendations regarding the pathways, the resources, the training modules, and the specific things that you can actually do to address this skill gap. So if you ask me about the platform, I think I have actually gone through Cognavi's helping you address those skill gaps. It's a feature that is very nice, and you can actually learn what's missing and what you can address as well for you. So if you go and go to the next slide, then we can talk about a little bit more about this. So now you know what are the skill gaps and how you want to move forward with it. But what's the ultimate solution? The ultimate solution for any skill gap is upskilling and reskilling yourself. So since one of this brings me to a very important point, is that if you even are employed as a recruiter, as a student, as a fresher, anything, I think another skill for the evolving job market requirement would be to adapt and learn how to use AI in your jobs firstly. So that is something that would be the skill, the need of the hour as you move forward in your career as well. So adapting to evolving job requirements. If you ask me what certifications to do or what things to do, this is something I receive a lot of questions on. So that is then would come around. Learn how to use AI firstly. That would be really helpful. Also, then some examples of AI powered platforms, you can use LMS to have a pathway declared. You can have a skill assessment performed that we just talked about, and some VR simulations are also there these days to help you navigate through this entire ordeal that there is. Veera, would you want to move forward?
Sure. We also have another fact that we would like to discuss with you. So, according to a research survey by careerbuilder.com, we found that 78% of candidates say that the overall candidate experience that has been observed and reflects the company's value and how its staffs is been treated. So basically, when we move back to one of the poll questions that we addressed in LinkedIn, we saw that the least number of votes were given to candidate experience. Whereas the study from Career Builder says that 78% of candidates will actually evaluate a job offer or a job experience based on what they observe in the office and how they see that the employees are treated. So basically, it is one of the most you know unspoken criteria, or something that's overlooked upon. Shouldn't we actually get into it and talk a bit more on that?
Actually, I would love to take this topic up. Earlier, also, I mentioned that, it's very, very important. I'll tell you why, okay? This candidate experience become a part of your employer brand in general. If you're a recruiter, you know nowadays the importance of having a good employer brand, and the candidate experience in an interview process is the only employer only not only but the most important employer branding that you can do for people in general and candidates and future employees as well. So when the poll got the least answers for this candidate experience, it really I was stunned, because this shows that people don't really have that insight, and uh, you as a candidate also take this for granted that okay, this is supposed to happen this way. But companies, like if you go for very big companies who have Google, HUL, ITC, these people have amazing candidate experience when it comes to the recruitment process. Now, since the introduction of AI, it will become really easy to maintain the candidate experience, but you have to take that pain to maintain the candidate experience as well, to take that initiative firstly. So what does a candidate wants to have a good candidate experience? It wants user friendly interfaces. They have given you your resume. Then again, if a person has to keep filling in for each job description, job application, the entire thing have to type everything, cut copy paste is not allowed, and things like that. It really hampers the user friendliness of the interface. Then next, talking about the transparency, the candidate sometimes does not even receive a reply from the recruiter. I know we are dead busy. I know we don't have time. But when we have AI, we can just, when we make a decision, we can just click on a button, let them know if they're selected, not selected, what might be the feedback. If you don't want your feedback, maybe we can use and incorporate AI to give its feedback, so that there is some level of transparency and some level of feedback that is given to the candidate. Then accessibility then again becomes another very important feature. It has to make sure that the AI driven interviews actually accommodate candidates with disability as well, so that your company has a good DNI index as well. Also, if you want to the next slide, I would really want to talk about the best practices that are there. Make sure that the all the experience includes everybody from all the language proficiencies, all the cultural backgrounds, and people with disabilities as well. There is you have to be respectful of everybody's time. Since it's an AI based tool, sometimes my interview might be late in joining or things like that. Maybe the AI can start up the interview, maybe a video based interview, so that you can take it on your own time and the recruiter can review it on its own time. Then when you are having such AI tools there, it's very important to have privacy protection as well, so that the entire data remains with the company and with the employee's consent as well. Can we move to the next slide, please? I just quickly, lastly, just want to say, we all know AI is there. If you want to explore it a little bit more, there are a lot of future trends and innovation also going to happen, natural language processing, sentiment analysis, as we talked about, via stimulation, specifically in training and skill gaps, predictive analysis to tell you, how would this specific candidate perform with respect to whatever previous candidates we have of such, similar backgrounds and similar achievements as well. Sorry to rush through the last slide. I know we are a little bit, above time, and I really wanted to give time to ask, like, allow you to clear your doubts as well. So I think, Veera, we should take that up.
Sure. So, participants, any questions you have for us, please leave it in the chat box or in the Q&A box. We will take it up so Palak can answer it for you. So before we wait for people to share their questions with us, Palak, we have a couple of questions that we received through the registration. So shall we talk about it?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So one of the questions is like, how do you prepare so that you don't end up having a skill gap? Now the question mostly says, from there's a transition period from college to companies, or walking out from a college and joining a company, there is a kind of transition, so in between which you realize that you don't really have all the skills that are required. Now, is that a skill mismatch, or is that like an actual skill gap, and what should a fresher do for it?
That's actually a very good question because as freshers, we sometimes feel very hopeless. Sometimes we do not have the right pathway and we do not have the right guidance to, know how to actually move forward. So you need to firstly understand that when a company is interviewing freshers or when hiring freshers, they themselves know that they come from a very protective environment of their school or college. They might have some interview experience, but then again, a full-time experience has some differences with the, an interview experience that they might have in college. So firstly, the company knows and they are prepared to give you that kind of training and help you transition as well. But if you as a fresher or somebody, a candidate that you would want to ask yourself, I have time, I want to transition, how should I do it? So now, usually what you do is that you look at your resume and you look at the kind of jobs you want to apply for. Gather in some job descriptions that are there. And since we, have access to such beautiful AI features, you just get those both the things in a AI platform and you ask that AI platform that, suppose you are a career mentor. The prompts that you give is very, very important. Okay, so you tell them and you let them know, that I have, this is the job description and this is the my resume. Tell me what all skill gaps are there. It will let you know that, these are the following skill gaps you have. Suppose it talks about, maybe you do not have the problem solving skills. Now you as a fresher, I can't, maybe I have that, but I can't show that. So what I'll do is I'll maybe do a quick certification around, maybe talk about some of the consulting firms also have, some virtual experience internship and stuff like that. If you do that and you put it on a resume, it shows that, you might possess some problem solving skills. And suppose you're missing some technical skills, so you pick it up, you do some, maybe you do not know how to do financial modeling. You pick it up, you do a course and you try build a financial model yourself and put it as a project in your resume, so that you know actually how to do it. Also, you have done the basic learning also, and then the transition becomes very, very easy for you. Veera, I hope that answers the question.
Before you leave, we also have another thing that we'll be circulating feedback forms so you can share all your thoughts with us, and we make sure that we improve and we give you guys something more exciting in the upcoming days. And also, we have another exciting news to share with you, that we have another upcoming webinar from Cognavi on April 30th. We'll be shortly sending out invites, so please join us. And moving on to our Q&A Palak. We also have received another question. You have very well answered the previous question. I think this question is another follow up. So, students have been also asking what recruiters actually value the most. Do they value projects that they have done during their college days, or do they actually value internships?
I think both have a lot of value and a lot of weightage to your resume. But now there are two kinds of projects that you've done, right? Projects. One project could be a academic project that you've picked up in a group have done and you actually adding that to your resume. Then that resume is just another group project that you've been doing since till from your school till now. However, if you pick up a live project and put it under a live project, then it the live project would hold equal value to the internship. However, the academic projects or maybe the research paper that you have written for your college, things like that, college projects or college grades, those projects would hold a little less value than internships. But then again, don't feel like you can't add those intern projects at all if you feel like your resume is feeling a little lighter.
These were the questions that we have received so far. Participants, if you have any more questions for us, we'll be open for a couple of minutes. You can share it with us and we'll answer it for you. You say that AI takes care of personal information about candidates, but based upon recent news, data are being used by AI. So, how do HRs actually, keep the data of candidates really safe?
If there is an HR on the other end, we take care of the policies that are made within the organization would make sure that the data is not going anywhere and it's not being misused. However, Veera, I think the person basically wants to know about when Cognavi has this information at hand, how it makes sure that the data doesn't go and you know this is something that you can take up. However, I'll answer the second
Sure.
part of the question.
So the first part of the question that I actually wanted you to answer is how usually a HR would take care of it. In terms of Cognavi, well, do not worry about that because we have a strong security team who sits here and actually helps recruiters solve the problem. So there is no, data misuse or data, leakage. That does not happen here with Cognavi. Although here in India we are a startup, we are actually backed by a parent company which is in Japan and it has a 43 years of legacy in HR domain. So they are very clear about how to use technology in the most efficient manner so we can actually solve problems and give solutions to recruiters as well as job seeking freshers.
Okay, answering the second part of it, that will this AI select candidates who are actually worthy of the position posted? So see, uh, this is something I'll answer it from a general perspective. Okay, so when it specifically comes to AI assisting you in the entire process and you're actually wanting to know if you get the worthy candidate, so when we are partnered with AI, it makes sure that you get a second opinion, first of all. Second, it also makes sure that it helps to remove certain human biases, as we talked about, right? So it would make sure that you might end up with a better candidate, but as the job description demand changes, the job position changes, you might not know, you may never know that if the candidate you select is actually worthy, because sometimes Ashfaq, if you are in HR, we actually, when we interview certain candidates don't look good on paper, but they perform really well because they have the zeal in them, right? And now, for us as an HR is to make sure that we actually identify that zeal and actually hire that person, right? But sometimes we miss on that. But if we have someone or from as an AI partner, it will help us identify that zeal so that we also consider that person on that basis also. And look on the other part, sometimes you may have a candidate that's an exact fit, but then the person is not enthusiastic enough, the person is not willing to do that much effort, then that perfect candidate is also not worthy, right?
Correct. So that is something, answering your question again. Actually, that is one of the things that Cognavi aims to solve. Now, your question was, how do you actually assure that the candidates selected are actually worth of the position posted? That is where the AI actually come in. We have the skill tree which will actually match the skills. So anybody who is submitting for a job position should be really careful enough. They cannot be like, okay, there are 12 positions open, let me go and apply for all 12 positions. That does not work. Am I right, Palak? That should not be a case when you're actually, submitting your resume to a particular opening. You should be aware of what job you are looking out for. So basically, in that terms, when a person is preparing JD, they'll not be like, in recruiter's point of view, they'll be very clear about it. They would not do like, I'll prepare one JD and send it out for 10 vacancies. No, that does not happen. They'll have specific JDs for each and every position that is available. Similarly, when a person is applying for the job, they should have their resume curated for the particular opening. So there what happens, like you, there will be 100 people who will submit their resumes. Now the problem of recruiters is, in any other platform that they get hang of all these people, again it's difficult to set up a lot of scanning, and they have to do their screening interviews. Now that is time consuming. Where Cognivi comes in is, it will help. Okay, now these are the list of people and this is your job requirement, let me match it for you. Now that I've matched, these are the people who are actually matching to your preferences. From this you can shortlist. So half of their burden is reduced. Instead of searching in 100 pool of candidates, they can actually search from the 18 ones that are a close match. And from there they will be like, okay, now I see these people are really good enough, I want to interview these people. And then they will send the video interview request to them. And there they can actually then analyze, okay, now this is your performance, I want, out of this 18, I only want 5 to come up for my technical round of interview. So instead of having 18 interviews in real time or scheduling an individual Google Meet call, again spending, 6 hours or 18 hours put together just for screening, isn't this a good solution? So that's where Cognitive actually comes in play. So we have another question. What about the proxies? Can we overcome this with AI tools?
So I'm with proxy, I'm assuming that you mean that certain candidates have a plugin when they are giving the interview, and they can, it means basically a barrier that is being created with you assessing the exact answer of the interview. Now it's a very interesting thing, I feel. So basically what you can do is that here, see, you as a recruiter are asking the question, and the recruiter is giving, the candidate is giving. But now there is a proxy and they want to, just see what is happening. Now, what the AI feature can do is, they can also track their eyeball movement, right? They can also see if they, are actually looking at you, they are reading something, or, they are stalling just to give you search the answer while you answer question, asks another question. So this is something that we as human can miss, but an AI bot will not miss it, right? So this is something that can be very easily overcome with AI.
Exactly. And Suresh, adding on to Palak's answer, if you know that our video AI is really developed well, that it can actually give you an entire analysis of the candidate's performance. So let's say Palak just now spoke about eyeball movement tracking, whereas in our AI, video AI feature, it'll also, record and analyze your voice. It'll see your pitch, it'll see how you're reading, and it'll give you a detailed description telling, the person while answering the question was anxious enough or were confident enough, and all of that. So here there is no way to trick the system. So if you are a recruiter and if you are interested, sign up for a personalized demo and our product team will give you one. All right. So I think the questions are over for now. In case you have any questions or any feedback, you could leave it to us in the feedback form that we will share it to you on email. And recruiters, if you feel that you would read a personalized demo, and if you have any sort of questions that you would want us to answer specifically in terms of how Cognavi can help you, assist you, or guide you to solve a specific problem in recruitment, you can always schedule a call with us and our team will be ready to answer. Thank you, Palak. Thank you for this wonderful session today. Thank you, audience, for participating. We had a wonderful session where we spoke about the race of AI in transforming interviews. We also spoke about how AI is becoming a very important part of our interview process, and how recruitment have changed over time, how the traditional processes have shifted to modern times, and how AI, which started decades ago, has become a part of our day-to-day life, and it has not left any room in interviews. We have also discussed about the types of interviews, and we also saw some best practices on how things should be taken care of in order to avoid and eliminate skill mismatch and address it in the right way, so we can build, as recruiters we can all build a very good team. So thank you so much.
Cognavi, pioneering possibilities. Cognavi, pioneering possibilities.